Big Meaty Ogre back for the second time
Yeah.
on the Mestizo show, man. Congratulations on the new release, my brother.
Thank you, sir. You're part
Um,
of that too, so thank yourself.
yeah, I mean, I listened to it about 5 times today, man. It's dope. It's good all the way through, back to back.
Man, I feel good about it, man. To be honest, like, like the past 20 years or whatever, like, say, like, since the last time, I mean, we did this Alpha record together last year, right? And that was like the first rap record I produced. That thing came together so fast. And it's a different style of music than I've been used to working on. Like the Alpha record was pretty much no samples.
Right.
I was trying to like go a different direction with that. But really since like the Freezer Burner, I think is like the last rap record I produced before that. And like
all the way through?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. I'm trying to like rewind the clock. I don't really remember, but man, it's like in the back of my head, I've always had this like, I want to produce something that really feels like me and really feels like something I know I can do. Like something I'm like, I know I can make some crazy ass, hard ass record, and I feel like I really feel proud of this record, man. I feel like it's really like there's no weak tracks on it. It's just like exactly what I had in my head, and I executed it to the like. I listened to this record like 300 times before I put it out. I was like, man, every little tiny little sound in there, like I tweaked it and worked on it and like listened for months and months of just like every little detail of this record to like get it exactly how I wanted it. And this is the first record I've ever done where I really feel like I fully committed and put every ounce of fucking time and effort into it. Like where I really feel like I don't feel, like normally when you put out a record, it's like you're second guessing and you're like, man, I could have done this, I could have done that. And now that I listen to this record, I'm like, man, it's exactly how I wanted it. Like there's to me, there's like no flaws. There's no weak moments on it at all. It's like exactly how I pictured it coming out. So I feel really good about that.
Yeah, you can hear it in the record, man. There's so many parts to it. It's definitely a Meaty Ogre record, man, through and through. Like there's so many elements to the past in there, but also like a lot of attributes of the future in there too, man, which is it's really refreshing to hear. I was talking to a couple people about it, how just the underground is thriving again now. Like this record set our year off, for our little circle in motion,
For sure. Yeah. A lot of people have been like coming out of the woodworks and hitting me up, like people I haven't talked to in, 10 years, 15 years. I mean, my son is 16. When I had Elazar, it was kind of like I had to hit the brakes on a lot of the stuff that we were doing back then.
Right.
Out of just wanting to be a better father and just wanting to be around and just like realizing I had to like step up and couldn't be like sitting at home in my underwear making beats anymore, but I've still been active throughout all that time, but like the pandemic really is what changed everything. Like, we had time to sit and focus at home, and I had the SP. I've had this SP for 20 years, and I never really. I've always been messing with it. I did beats on it for your first record.
Right.
The SP, but I think like the mentality back in the early 2000s and late 90s, like the bar was so high for beats. Like we had so much just in our circle, like Maker, Dreas, Open Eye, everybody who was around us making beats. You know, like we had each other influencing each other.
Right.
Control 7, Scott Metallic,
Yeah.
all the Vinyl Monkeys people, and
Yeah. You
1200.
mind all them guys.
You know, I think back then it was like all of us were influencing each other, and DJ Shadow, obviously, and things like that. Like, I was always like, you know, I always had this mentality of like wanting to make these like epic soundscapes of like, you know, really intricate drum patterns and going crazy with it. But I think the pandemic changed me where with this SP, it's just like getting back to just real simple, dope loops and dope drums. And it's like what I have so much more fun with now, just making something
Right. Right.
stripped down and real simple. Um, and like, yeah, I made the first Grenades tape through the pandemic, and I made that tape in like less than 2 months of just like, I was working from home, I was working remote, you know, and I'd get off the computer because I was teaching on Zoom, and I would be like sick of staring at the screen, you know. But I would want to make music, so I'd like shut the computer off, and I had the SP. You know, with the SP, it's
Right.
just staring at this little LED screen, and it was like it was therapeutic, man. You know, it was just like getting away from the computer, just punching buttons, and you know, like I got to the point where I dug into all the little windows and features of the SP that I never really messed with, and I just kind of
Right.
like really dug into that machine during the pandemic and started to like really love the stuff I was making on there, and just going back to basics, you know, just going back to like real simple, cool loops and hard ass drums.
Yeah, man. You definitely did that with the grenade stuff. I was thinking about it today. Like a lot of the first, like the beats on the first grenades, they've made their rounds at this point. You know, I've used some of the beats. You know, one of them's on my new record, um, and I've heard them on other records. We used some for the alpha, which is cool, man. It's like it says a lot about your production mode right now. You know, they're classic, making bangers, heaters.
The Grenades tape really was like uh it's a mix of a lot of different styles of beats. But after listening to it, you know, after it was done and realizing like I kind of set a bar for myself where I was like, man, I could go harder than this. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
Like I was like, you know, I come from DJing, and this new tape is really like, I think my style has always been this style where I like, you know, when I first started, I was making like mixed tapes that had my own beats in between them with other people's songs and whatever. But I've always come from like a DJ mindset. You know,
right,
that's
right.
the stuff I've always loved. Um, which is like how we first connected in the first place. You know, through like
Mm,
DJing and being a fan of all of it. But this tape is really kind of like the first tapes I really loved were like Cash Money Brothers. It's this mixtape series
yeah.
in Chicago, and it was always like it'd be like super fast raps, but they'd only drop like one verse and then go right into the next track. You know, it wouldn't be the whole song.
Did you got a shout out from them on the Meet Your Maker, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pony Boy from Cash Money Brothers.
Yeah, right, right.
Uh, yeah, so like that's what I've always loved, man, and that's what I really wanted to do with this tape. You know, I think it was a pretty big feat to get 21 rappers, but it was a lot easier to just be like, yo, I just need one verse, man. You know, like it's different when you're coming at it like trying to construct a whole song. But this style of tape that I just put out is exactly like what I like, and I think I've always liked. Like, I think it's
It's
harder for me to try to construct a whole song with hooks and bar. You know what I mean? Like, this way is just like what I love, like a quick in and out, like hard ass verse into the next, you know, passing it off. So it came out how I was hoping it would, and I want to do more. You know.
it's interesting to hear cats I haven't heard rap in 20 years, get on the verse, you know?
Yeah.
Like Axe Fact is gray matter now, and I'm like, damn, bro, his whole style changed. Like sounds
Uh,
different, you know. Robust is a little bit more refined now too. He's always been pretty refined, but even like it's a different robust now, you know. And I like that. It's interesting to me. Rift even like is so sharp now too. You know what I'm saying?
we're not getting older, we're getting better.
Yeah, more
I think
mature.
I think too, it's like just growing and getting older, like people's voices sound better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Physically, like it just sounds better to be like an older man rapping.
It's like our nuts dropped, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, so when I started this tape, I think I sent you the original. I just had like 10 beats on a SoundCloud, and it was
Hmm.
the beginnings of the Next Grenades tape, and I planned it to just be another instrumental tape. And then I think you were one of the first that I reached out to with that little mix. And
Hmm.
I think first I was just like, let me get like one rapper on this tape, like to just make it more interesting. And then like I sent that link to a couple to you, and then maybe I'm trying to think who the first one I had on it, but I,
You must have had Rift. I think you had Rift already
it
picked
was
out.
Riff. Yeah,
Rift picked out a beat because I was like, oh, I like this beat. Me and him always end up picking the same shit.
yeah, yeah,
And you're like, oh, Rift's got that beat. I'm like, okay, I got a secondary.
yeah. Yeah, it started out like that where I just sent that link. I just had a little SoundCloud link with like 10 beats, and then it snowballed, man. I was like, "Oh, let me hit up Vile because I never worked with like we just did a track. I wanted to do another track with
Oh,
Vile.
Vile's another one. Vile came super sharp on it, man.
And yeah, he just sent me a video too. That'll drop like tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah, like making all these videos and stuff. I mean, that's what I've been enjoying all these new levels of all this stuff. Like this tape, I sampled probably like 50 movies, and I was really trying to push myself. And like I sampled like at least 50 movies, and
That
every single
cover is ridiculous, man. The
yeah,
cover looks. It just is that a dude? Is that your face or is that like
no,
another dude?
yeah, it's from a movie. I just ripped it from a movie.
Because it kind of looks like you. I was like, is it? Was it a painting of him from
Yeah,
like back in the day?
yeah, it's like a VHS cover from a old shitty 80s.
It's so good.
Yeah,
And even
yeah,
that like that sense of humor is such like that's you, bro, to a T. That's your sense of humor right there.
yeah. But making all these videos, man, and just like I made the cover myself. I've been learning Photoshop and just kind of like do it myself. Like
Good,
that's
man.
it's a big fun part of all this for me too. Like this is the first thing like I did every little aspect of this. Ben Hickson mixed it for me, who's an amazing producer out here. That was a huge step. Like just being able to pass off all the tracks to him and get them all mixed nice.
Damn, that's awesome. Yeah, it sounded great too, man. The whole tape sounds great.
It was a beast of a mix, man. Because I had like 30 tracks going on, like 30 tracks through that whole thing, and explosion sounds and all the little sound clips
There's
going
a lot
on.
of detail in it, man.
Yeah,
It's
it was
such a good tape. I'm glad that's crazy. It sold out already.
sold out in the first day. Uh, we did the tapes with Javier with Fatherless.
Mm.
We did like 25 special tapes with that again. Kept it super Rockford on this tape too, which is made me super happy. I got 4 MCs from Rockford. I got Judah, my boy Nickname. Those are my old homies from Rockford who we
Right.
started rapping together when I was like in junior year of high school.
Yeah, everybody came with it. I didn't know everybody on the tape. That was cool. That's cool for me, man.
Yeah. Huey the Cosmonaut is from Rockford. He lives in Philly now. And then Raju, he's from Rockford. These are just
Okay.
dudes that I met. One of the dudes I met at a party when I was in Rockford. And then Huey, I just hit up on Instagram, just trying to reach out to like more hometown folks.
Right. Right. That's dope, man.
got 6'2" on there. He hasn't.
Oh, dude, you pulled him out of retirement. It's crazy.
2008. People are going crazy for that. Yeah, it's fun, man. I think I want this to like open doors for other people and do another tape next and try to even push myself to go even harder because
Right.
like I put in crazy. I've never put in this much work for a project, man. And I'm like, I think a lot of the motivation was from after we finished that Alpha. I mean, I was working on it before we started Alpha, but after we got that out, you know, it's like I don't want to stop. I don't, you know, we've been talking about this off air, but like we all got a lot of fire under us right now, and we got to keep this ball rolling. And it's like stuff that we always known we can do this, but like you were saying with Sketch in the interview with Sketch, it's like, you know, time. I don't believe in time. You know, it's just like time will come. Our time will come when it's ready. And like, I think when you're younger, that's all you're thinking about. Like you're in a rush to get
Make
it
it
out.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm at a very peaceful place in my life now, man, and I'm just got like I'm living just like a nice normal routine, and I'm loving my life. I got stability, and I'm at the best place, you know, in my life right now to be doing all of this stuff. I can finally like focus, and I feel super organized and able to really express myself like how I want to. So feel really good about getting this project out. I feel like it's just like the start of feel like it's the start of something new, but at the same time I'm also like I feel like this project, if I was to like die tomorrow, like I feel super happy. Like this is probably the best thing I've ever done. And like, you know, I feel like I laid it out like exactly like the kind of shit that I like and what I'm trying to do with my music. So
Yeah, it's a good thing you left behind, man. Yeah,
more
that's I think I think I don't know, man. I think something's bubbling. I keep saying this. I can feel it. It's not even bubbling, it's happening. Like everything is coming at once. All the homies are doing stuff. There's a whole circle of us that don't we might not be working together, but we're all acquaintance, you know, and everybody's dropping shit right now that's been doing it for years and have like really deserved credit in my book anyways, and now are just like so comfortable with where they're at in life, like you just said, that everybody's willing to just do the work, you know, and put the art out without any like concern with the money, you know. That shit comes and goes, and right now just putting the work out feels really good because people are appreciating it again, you know. They're
yeah.
ready for it.
I think you know, when we were younger, you always have that fear over your head, especially when you start having kids. It's like, you know, you feel like when you're working on music, you feel like it's taking away time from you making money or whatever. You know,
Right,
why am I doing this? I'm like wasting my time. I should be out hustling, making money.
right.
And that's always been a hard part for me about music in general. You know, like it's what I love to do. I would love to make a living off it someday, but you know, it's like that taking that leap of faith when you have kids is a whole different thing. You know, it's
Hmm.
like, am I gonna sacrifice his life now too for this? You know, like so that was a big point in my life where things changed. But you know, he's 16 now. Things get a little easier, start to loosen up, and now you know, like he loves this record. My son Elazar loves this record, man. It's cool. It's like
I
he's
thought
been
that was rad that he was helping you out with the videos, man.
he's helping me with the videos and he's listening to it more than I'm even listening to it, and that gives me hope. I think this younger generation is really gonna dig these kind of styles of.
Right, right. I feel like they're starting to grasp it now, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna this record just came out yesterday on the 3rd. It was a crazy day yesterday, being De La Day too, man. Like
Oh yeah, yeah,
he honestly, like Prince Paul is like my number one influence of
yeah.
like I wouldn't be doing any of this shit if it wasn't for De La. Like that's the first rap group I ever fell in love with, and Prince Paul in particular, like his style and just being goofy and I think everyone's been saying it online, you know, and I mean, every single person I know has made a De La post, and I feel like I probably won't make a post like that, but it's like I feel the same way as everyone feels. It's
Right, right.
drop it on the same day as like De La Day. It's gonna be memorable for me, but you know,
What's
yeah,
also crazy about that to me, bro, is that a lot of our favorite guys are dropping in their 50s, man.
yeah,
We ain't there yet, but that shit's coming. And
yeah,
that it's just wild to me that people are starting to drop in their 50s a lot more. It's becoming really common, you know?
totally, yeah. I mean, you know, we talked about this with the Alpha record, but Virgil passing was a big hit to me, man.
Yeah.
Just because like when he died, we were talking at least once a week, and he wanted to be on top of all the potion stuff I was putting out. I was sending him packages, and he was really pushing for me, and that's a big part of like this record too, this Escape from Grenades, man. That's why like I was like, man, I'm not holding back anymore. Like I'm going hard as fuck now. And there's no more second guessing what you're doing, no more like holding back or like when we were younger, I was making beats nonstop, and we had our little crew, and it'd be like I was withholding beats from people because I'd be like, oh, I want to hold off on this and see, you know what I mean? Like, like I think my mentality and hopefully most people once you get to be our age, it's like I look at this as like an endless well, man. Like
Yeah.
there's this endless creativity and there's no limitations, and I think Virgil passing and especially going to like the exhibit here that they had at Brooklyn Museum and just looking at his work, it's just like that's the mentality, man. It's like don't hold back anything. Just like create as much as humanly possible and
Right.
don't hold back and just like keep making stuff and stop second guessing yourself and stop even thinking about what other people think about it. Just keep making and making and making,
That's the
And,
biggest trick right there. Stop giving a fuck what people are thinking, you know?
yeah.
That'll free you up so much, man.
And it doesn't do any good to like regret, but I look back at even the stuff when we were making music, it's like, I'm like, man, we could have quadrupled the output we were doing.
Yeah.
We were together every day making stuff. I mean, we made a ton of music, don't get me wrong, but like, like if I have if for my son and just for any young people, I feel like we wasted a lot of time just like drinking, smoking
Hmm.
weed, whatever. Like we
Absolutely.
did what
That
we
was a
did.
big waste of time.
It's a big waste of time, man. And I only regret those things because I know we could have just been producing more and making more, and focusing on what we're really good at. And all that stuff is just a distraction from your from your soul, like getting close to like what you should be doing with your life. And
Well, that being said though, bro, all that stuff plays a part into where we're at presently, you know? Like where we're at right now, we wouldn't be where we're at without those crazy times, you know?
yeah, 100%. No, I mean, like I said, I don't have any regrets at all. I mean, right, if anything, right now, I feel like we're in a much more powerful position that we were back
Mm.
then. I think it's cool. I love watching the sketch interview because
Mm.
I remember things that I didn't even really realize was happening back then. I forgot like how young Sketch was. I remember seeing him like he was 16 when we were doing those hot
Yeah,
house shows.
yeah.
And I think when you're that age, when you're 21 and you're looking at like young kids like that, you kind of take it for granted of that's like the next level of like stepping up to
Yeah.
influence. Um, and I mean, whatever, we were running crazy and we were doing our thing and we had our own crew, but being a teacher now, being older, being somebody who's influential to younger people, man, it's like that's all I want to do is just like inspire young people. I want to like leave stuff behind to like, you know, leave that legacy really solid, intact. Like this is what we do, and this is like, you know, not to be corny, but like, you know, hip hop culture is what we grew up on, and a specific type of it. You know, like we were making really creative stuff. We still are, but
That's how I feel. You hit the nail on the head, bro. This culture, this underground hip hop culture, just this specific genre of hip hop. This is our culture. This is ours. This has always been ours. I've always held this so close to my heart, and this has always been my lane. Could take this lane for the rest of my life. I gave a fuck when everybody kept telling me underground hip hop is dead. Get out of underground hip hop. I'm like, yeah, but it's where my head is at. It's where my heart is at. So you can go that way. I'm gonna keep going this way. This is my lane. This is ours. And anybody else that feels like that, this is yours too. You know?
yeah. Yeah, that I love the way robust. Like that's why like the last track on the Grenades is a robust track, and he ended it perfectly. He's like, in my own lane. He's like, seeing the whole game change, still posted up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the perfect line for it. It's like what you just said. It's like we've been watching it all evolve and change around us, but we've all kind of been staying and if anything, we've been staying in our lane, and if anything, like trying to even go back even further, like you know, I've never really made just like boom bap rap beats, but this tape is all boom bap rap beats,
But
you know.
it's still a mediocre record, and mediocre is synonymous with underground hip hop. You know, this is just your style and your contribution to our culture, and I appreciate it so much. That's why I'm so happy you, I, and Dose are working together, and Dose has always stayed in the same lane too. Always
Yeah,
been underground. He just always flipped his finger off to everything else. I like some of the commercial shit, but he'll be like that. Fuck
yeah,
that shit.
yeah. I mean, you know, I think all of us have maybe tried to like. I don't think any time we've ever like intentionally tried to make some like pop music, you know,
Yeah.
pop whatever it is, you know. I don't think we could even if we tried, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I've seen some like lanes open up for me where I tried to like bring the underground with me into commercial music spaces, and it just doesn't work. You know, it's like it's too avant-garde and too heady for a lot of people. You any music where you got to think, there's a lot of people that don't want to think when they listen to music. You know,
yeah,
that's what I just talked about with Sketch too. And
yep,
it's like that's why this is for a specific few motherfuckers that think all the time. You know.
yeah, yeah,
And we overanalyze everything. That's why your record has so much detail to it because you've overanalyzed it, which is what Prince Paul did back in the day, and a lot of like producers, Dan the Automator, all these guys. You know,
yeah. It's fun to be doing this in 2023. You know, like still chipping away at all the stuff.
and doing it well.
Yeah, and you know, it's different. It's different perspective that we can take on it now. You know, it's like I want to see how like young kids react to like a tape like this. Like I want to see how like I was saying, Elazar's 16. He's loving this record. So I'm like, man, you think like other 16-year-old teenager kids could get into this type of music and like respawn that whole era that we loved, you know what I mean?
Right, right.
And like your kids, they're even younger, you know, what are we leaving behind for them to get inspired by, you
Oh,
know?
they're definitely they play around on my keyboards and all that, and my all my machines. They mess around. My son Elon just asked to make a beat. Yeah, he's like, "How about I make the beat and you rap on it?" I was like, "All right, that's cool. Let's do it. Just don't come whack."
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, this record was a dream come true for me. I got a lot of people on it that I really wanted to work with forever. You know, Sketch, I never did a track with. I never did anything with Kev Beachum. Um,
Oh, that's another one that was crazy that you brought him out the woodworks, man.
yeah,
The Kev's been around forever.
he was a huge influence on me. I mean, I used to listen to Time Travel Style, his radio show. Like the day I moved to Chicago, I remember his show was from like 11 to 2 in the morning, and I remember sitting there having to hold my busted antenna like in a perfect place, like recording it to tape and just holding that antenna, and I had to hold it to like make it work. I used to listen to his show like crazy, and then he would invite us to come up and like um Quell would come freestyle, or Robust would come freestyle. We go hang out at the studio.
That's
Um,
awesome, man.
yeah, yeah, man. It's fun to be still doing this and ain't gonna stop. But yeah, like laying it down for these younger generation. That's important to me right now. It's like leaving this stuff behind.
Yeah, I think you're doing it well, man, because there's so much. This younger generation may have not heard our shit yet, but they have heard Madlib and they have heard Doom, and Doom is such a cultural icon in this. And Doom was also a part of underground hip hop, and so was Madlib, and to a different extent, than what we were doing. They weren't out there in the ciphers with us, and on tour grinding it. They already kind of had a head start with some major label shit, and they knew what they were doing. We kind of had to figure it out along the way, but I feel like these kids are open enough now and knowledgeable enough now, and the kids want to think, man. They don't want to be dumbed down. Kids want to be smart. None of these kids want to act dumb anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I hope so, man. Like that's like why it's kind of our duty, or our job is to be like not in like a corny way, but it's like, that's all we have at this age. Like I don't need money. I don't need
Right.
any. I don't need props. I don't need anybody else's opinions. Like I just want to just like get this stuff out of me. Like I know I
Right.
have a lot of potential inside of me, and I want to like that's like what I find beauty in other people's art now. It's like just finding that beauty in like watching somebody display their soul on whatever format it is, whatever media it is. It's like that's what you got to do while you're alive, man. Like you all have potential inside of you, and like just get as much of it out of you as you can, and make it palatable. Like give it away as much as you can.
Right. Exactly, man. And I think just the contributions that you've been giving to us and just our circle alone, like we don't have like a crew. It's not like a crew name or none of that, but we're all involved with each other right now, and everybody's pushing each other, from Controller 7 to you to Dose to me to Buck to you name it. Everybody's kind of like we're intertwined, and we're pushing each other just with putting music out and to continue to put music out. And that's like enough motivation for me to want to get better still, and
Yeah,
still want to push forward and still make better music, and still grind this out, because this is just, it's so ingrained in us, man. And I truly feel that this is what we're put here to do, besides be good parents and good people.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, and like it's tapping into that well. Like I said, it's endless, and you can't come from a place of like, I think that's what's tough is growing up in Chicago, and growing up, I grew up in Rockford, but I lived in Chicago for like 15 years. But like the hip hop scene and whatever that we grew up in was very like battle oriented,
Hmm.
like,
Competitive. Yeah.
and it's tough love, like you don't just automatically get love just because you're doing music or rapping or whatever. Like you had to really push for it and fight for it. Um, but so it's like you get in that mentality, and you get to this point. When you're in that mentality all the time, it's kind of like you don't really feel that endless well. Like I'm saying, it's like you feel like you gotta like protect your shit and like and
Right.
hold on,
Right.
rather than like
Yeah.
just. And I think like you know seeing like Dose. being so fearless back then and shit. Like I think that was hugely influential to me and other people. Just seeing people just like throwing it out there and not giving a fuck and just being fearless with it. You know, like whether you like it or not, you know, it's just like you can't. It's that whole other mentality of just like there's an endless well out there to tap into, and there's no, you know, there's no end to it, and there's no reason to keep to withhold what you got inside of you. So
He was fearless, bro. I just saw this old picture that it made me think about this whole situation. Like he was the first rapper to wear like a little girl's dress as a t-shirt, bro. And he
yeah,
battled in it. He battled in it.
yeah,
He's like the first rapper to not give a fuck about
yeah.
that shit, you know. And he wasn't doing it for a fashion statement. He was doing it like, fuck your masculinity, bro. You're about to get ripped by a dude in a girl's shirt, you know. It had nothing
Yeah.
to do with fashion or no fucking agenda, none of that shit. Just it had to do with him ripping the fuck out of you and psyching you out, you know,
Yeah,
and
man.
having the balls enough to do something like that.
And I've always loved that. You know, like you. I mean, even my first tapes, you remember Meaty's Adventures. That's really like
Yeah, I love
my
Meaty's
first tape
Adventures.
was basically just like a joke tape, and we did like songs of every style. We were trying to do like songs of every style of music. Like we had metal songs and cowboy country songs. That's what I've always been about, man. You know, like I've always been a goofy ass dude. I think that comes out in this new tape too, but you know,
Yeah,
like people
I
take
forgot
themselves
about that.
seriously, and
Yeah, for
it's never
sure. You
been
got
my
to
thing.
play around sometimes, man. But when it comes to laying it down for real, you do it. You do it hard as fuck. You know, you're serious about it. Like this tape, you know, and the grenades before this.
Um, yeah. So another big part of this tape is bringing so many different kind of crews together. You know, we had like Anticon dudes like those,
Mm,
um, 6'2" and Buck 65 on the same project, which used
right.
to be a group, Sebutones, a lot of Galapagos people.
Mm.
Um, my homegirl Gaia Earth Peace, who's fucking amazing. She's from here, from Brooklyn. That's actually the
Oh yeah,
only
she was dope, man. I checked her stuff out today. Yeah, she was dope.
that's the only MC actually I got from Brooklyn. But we're gonna be doing a lot more. So, but yeah, it's just cool to have all these people on the same project, and hopefully brings that more sense of like this is like a movement, a scene that people might not be aware of.
Right.
People
This is
together.
this is the first compilation rap tape in a long time, man. You don't hear. I used to love compilation rap tapes, and this is solely produced by you, so that's a whole nother level, you know.
It
It's
was fun
dope,
to
man.
put together. It was fun. I've been working on this forever, man. It's always I couldn't sleep last night just because like to finally have it out, you know, like I've been buzzing, like listening to this record, like I've listened at least 300 times, and like to finally get it out, like I played it on Spotify like 20 times yesterday, you know, like it's a it's a cool feeling to have like that's why it's called a release, you know, it's like once you let go of it, it's like
Ah,
an exciting feeling. You got to let go and give it out. So it's like it's not yours anymore, man. You got to give it away.
yeah. I don't. If you're not an artist, you don't really understand that feeling. You know, that feeling is it's an incredible high, man. Pushing out your art and letting people hear it, and like there's so many different facets to that feeling, you know, of putting releases out. But like, man, that's part of the reason why I keep doing it, because I love that feeling, you know, like
Exactly, yeah.
it's crazy.
And you get better at I remember like cuz when we put out records back in the early 2000s, whatever, the first record I put out was the Typical Cats, like the first thing I had a beat on vinyl at least. Um the first thing I ever did was with Pugs Adams, which he's on the record too. I was
Right,
on his
shout out
tape,
Pugs.
which was on Galapagos. And I mean, back then it's like to get feedback on your record, it was just like you might get like a comment on our like on a message board somewhere, and you'd have to, you know what I mean? Like that's really all. You really didn't know how anybody was receiving your record until you just like throw a show and see who shows up or see who buys your tape or whatever. Put tapes in at the record stores and.
This is why I don't do this shit in my house because of these fools. This is why I really, really like the time we're in now because it was such a frustrating feeling to sit there and wait 6 months for your record to get put out.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling. That's why
Yeah.
working with Zach at Handsmade, I'm like, I'm compromising with him because I'm like, I like to just get it done, put it out. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna get? 4 more listeners if I wait a fucking 3 months? I'd rather just put the shit out now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we did that with the golden tape, right? We did that whole thing
Yeah.
in like
No,
2
the
weeks.
barbecue tape. Golden was my
Barbecue.
tape. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, the barbecue tape, we did that in a couple days. And it took me like a week of me sending you stuff and going, that sounds like shit. Yeah, it does. All right, let me dial this back. And then it's like, boom, put it out.
Yeah, I think there's a healthy medium there, you know what I mean? But that's what is so cool now about being able to just put it out yourself. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you can be a way more DIY than even we were back then, you know? Like
Right.
you don't even have to have a budget. You just go on, post your own stuff, which is, you know, it's a gift and a curse. Like stuff felt more special, I guess, back then because there was fewer releases, so you'd be checking for
Right.
stuff. But
There was also fewer artists, like guys out there really trying to rap. And now it's like, dude, there's so many good rappers out there right now because
yeah,
everybody can just tune in to the best people they can, they have the best people right on their phone. So it's insane, man, how much talent is out there, but not as much as experience, like it's very young. It's a young thing. So in 20 years, it's going to be on a whole nother level.
yeah, for sure.
Can you imagine what our music's going to sound like in 20 years?
I'm gonna be
Crazy.
still making music, man.
Hell yeah, me too. Me too. Without a doubt. I'm not, dude, we're already far into it. Might as well keep going.
Yeah, like the older too, like I like I like the real, just like I think, just like any musician, it's like the older you get, the more you want to strip it down, like dial it
Yeah.
back. More about
Right.
taking it away, like taking stuff out rather than adding and adding and adding, you know? Like
Yeah.
add all the elements and then you start pulling them out. Like just strip it down to the bare essentials, you know?
Right. I mean, yeah, as opposed to a few tracks recently, I definitely was giving it that old feel of just putting so much emphasis into shit. But now I've dialed it back to where it's just real calm and more about what you're listening to, the words that you're listening to, rather than, the excitement in it. You know what I mean? Everything is dialed back.
What are you listening to these days, rap wise? Because I honestly,
Um,
yeah, I don't even listen to new rap. You know, I know there's tons of stuff out there. That's what's funny about me, and it's always been that way. I think like I've been kind of like locked into a certain era, like our era. Because even
yeah,
when we were making music, like we were just always listening to our stuff.
right.
So
That's
like,
I'm still like that, bro. I'm still like
yeah,
that. I mean, there's a few guys I listen to that aren't homies, but as far as like this record you just put out, definitely just like fueled the fire for me to dig deeper into underground again and find out what's going on out there and all that. But for the most part, I listen to the Alpha record, I listen to Sketch record, I'm listening to, started listening more to the Backwoods guys. Definitely all the Buck 65's new stuff, Dose's stuff, any of the homies, man, I'm still listening to. And as far as like new rap, there's not much out there that I like. I like some JID tracks, and it's not stuff I would listen to every day. I still listen to Freezer Burner a lot, man. I still get a lot out of that album.
yeah. I put it out there that I hit up Quell for this record, and he had a beat, but he just never got it to me. So, and I couldn't wait any longer, so I had to keep moving with the project. But hopefully
He
we
just
get.
recently hit me, man. I haven't talked to him in a long time, and he just hit me. He called me on a night where I was like going to sleep, and I'm like, should I pick it up? I'm tired as fuck. Like, all right, hit him tomorrow. See, I knew I wasn't gonna get a hold of his ass. He's a fucking Houdini.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been that way, so I'm not tripping. But
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
some stuff in the book soon.
The
But
time will come, bro, where he's gonna be inspired again and be like, damn
yeah,
it, I need to get on my shit.
yeah. Well, I got another record like this in me. It's a whole like exhausting process to like finally get it out. Like yesterday was just like a huge exhale for me, just like all day, just like it felt like, you just hit like a crazy year-long workout and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, finally.
Give it a month, you'll be back on it. Take a rest.
Oh, we got a bunch of stuff in the work too.
I'm so excited about that stuff, man. It's so hush right now, but bro,
Yeah,
that shit's gonna blow shit out the water. It's such a I
yeah,
don't even want to talk about it or keep it
yeah,
keep it off camera.
we got to get that going fast and keep this ball rolling and hopefully
Yeah.
hopefully we'll work on another alpha record this summer.
Well, by the time I get this out, like my it'll be announced already, but my new record's coming. Tape. It's coming tape and vinyl. So that's coming, and then Doses got a new record coming, and we got a bunch of alpha stuff coming, and there's some other shit on Hands Made coming that's on the hush that I just heard about that's gonna blow everybody's mind, man. So there's a lot more coming. But as far as like anything, have you started working on anything else, or this was the last thing
Yeah.
you worked on?
So I got a bunch of stuff, man. Well, I got my label Potions, which I'm releasing
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of stuff. It's not just rap. I mean, actually, this is the first rap record on Potions,
Right.
but which is, you know, rewinding it back, like I've always been into, in YouTube, just besides our crew, like I don't really listen to rap. Like I listen to old stuff that I like 90s rap. I'll still go back to like our era, but I don't follow new rap at all. Like I've always been into soul and funk and disco and jazz and
Right.
all
Right.
that stuff, whatever indie rock. So that's my label Potions. Um, and I have a ton of crazy releases coming up. I know you're gonna do something with Harry James.
Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna get him on one of the new interviews.
We did a record. We just put out his second record a couple months ago, which sold out immediately. And Harry's incredible. And we got a third record from him already ready to go. I'm releasing a record by Gerald Bailey, who's an incredible producer and horn player. That's coming out next month. A bunch of other beat tapes I got lined up. I got another Diamond Cafe 45. Um,
Nice.
who he just got signed to Warner, and he's like blowing up like crazy. So like that whole thing is awesome. Like I mean I found about his stuff like years ago and just hit him up, and he's like an incredible genius pop music producer. So I mean, in my other world, I'm working on all that potion stuff alongside of all this rap stuff.
Right. 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 Yeah. That's
Kind of
good,
a
man. Mixing it up because that all elements of that kind of spill into your personal hip hop stuff too. Potions is dope, man. It's been gaining steam for a really long time, man. Like Controller Seven said, it's like you don't get enough credit for running a record label and producing on it and being an artist yourself. Like that's a lot of work, bro.
It is, man. But at the same time, it's I'm not running this like a business, to be honest. I'm running it just like it's casual. Like
Yeah.
I don't have like release schedules. I don't have like dates set up. I'm not working with people that are hard to work with. I'm
Right,
not.
right, right, right. Yeah.
I'm working at my own pace, and I put stuff out when I want. I'm not like forcing anything. I'm not. Sometimes I'm like let me put out a record tomorrow and I'll just do it. It's not, it's not like I'm not running this like a full-time business, so it's not as challenging as somebody who's trying to do like a full-time record label for a living. But I'm having fun with it, man. That's the point, as long as it's still fun, I'm gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think even if it gets not fun, I'll still do it. It wasn't fun for a while. I still did it.
No, I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, the truth is both of us, all of us who've been doing this forever, we've had our slumps.
Yeah.
Where we really weren't making music for, maybe one little thing here and there. But then one of us motivates the other. We're like, oh shit, JJ just put out a new record. Let me see what I got. Like all of us influence each other, and it's the cycle. And it's not just music. I get inspired by my friends doing art, like seeing what my other friends are hustling, however, learning skills or whatever. Like that's the whole point. You gotta inspire each other.
Finding new ways of getting inspiration is definitely part of it.
Yeah, we've all grown in incredible ways, man, and we, some of us have grown apart from each other. Some of us have stayed close, but it's cool to see that we're all like still in it. Nobody actually like gave up on the dream or whatever.
Right.
We were all
I wasn't even sure what the dream actually was. Actually, for me personally, I achieved everything I wanted to achieve, pretty young. Tour the world, be down with like the best people, best artists, and that was it, bro. It was like put a record out, that people heard, and mic drop, done.
Yeah.
Then it was like what it was is finding inspiration to to not be content,
Yeah.
It's like, damn, I'm content. Everything's good. I already toured. I did a bunch of shit. I'm on every damn label I loved, and I've worked with everybody I really respected, and that's it.
That's true. I mean, I think all of us in our crew, Galapagos, I don't think any of us had these like grandiose dreams of being like a mega star, really.
Right.
We're all just happy doing what we were doing. I think that's what's allowed us to like continue keeping like a healthy mind state towards it all. I don't think any of us expected to ever become like some huge star off of any of this stuff or whatever.
I don't think I wanted that. I never really. I just wanted to be respected by my peers. That was where. That's what was dope about underground is like the respect level between whether it's like graph, breakdancing, DJing, MCing, producing. It's like that's all you want is respect from the people that are good at it. That's the riches.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing is I never liked performing, and I still don't. I get shy. I don't really want to be seen. I don't want to be like the dude at the forefront of the stage where everybody's eyeballs are on. But at the same time, I do want to like show my shit and display it somehow. But it's like this duality I have inside of me, and it's kind of like, I don't know if that's kind of like the Midwestern dude in me who's like doesn't want to be too showy, but then like that's what I'm saying I think it really was like something really hit me when Virgil died. That was like, damn, like why do I give a fuck? Like why do I, just go out and do your shit always. Like stop holding back. Like who cares if you look flashy? Who cares if
let as many people as you can see this shit. Let as many people as you can hear this stuff. I'm done with that. But like it's like there's so much open space out there for everybody now. It's like, dude, and this shit is too good to not show it off, And I don't mean in an egoic way. I just mean like it needs to be heard, I'm done with that.
I'm not disillusioned that everybody's gonna like what I'm doing, but it's like why am I feeling at all like afraid to put this stuff out there or feeling like I give a fuck about what anybody else thinks about this, it's like that's what holds everybody back from, that's what, like I'm a teacher, I teach middle school, and I see this a lot. Like it's when it starts. It's when that mentality starts is in middle school, when you start to like, it's that, you know, everybody starts clicking up and building, you know, their personality starting to grow, and they're afraid to express themselves because they're afraid of what other people are going to think about you, you know.
It
It's like,
makes or breaks you, man. It makes or breaks you, and that's the people that it breaks. They have a hard time throughout life, and the people that it doesn't break, you know, they go pretty far in life, man. I just having these problems with like my oldest at school, you know, about how you need to go through these experiences so you can find the courage to face them properly and keep moving, because it's like, oh, bro, I had four stripe Adidas in school, you know. We were poor. I
yeah,
got all the girls at school. JJ got four stripe Adidas. Ah, those ain't even Adidas. Those is Medidas. You know, it's like, and I'll be like, ah, fuck you guys. Of course, I'm not wearing that shit again, but I'm not gonna sit there and get clowned anymore. You know,
yeah,
fire back. You gotta fight through that fire, man. And that's kind of like what young kids have to do nowadays too. They got so much working against them, man.
yeah, yep. And you know, it's like the more you put yourself out there as an example of somebody who doesn't give a fuck, it's inspiring to other people, you know?
Yeah,
Like just like throwing it all out there and not, you know, the more you can be that person and display that person in the most clear way, you know, like that's how you really affect change on people. You know,
right.
you can't force anybody to act a certain way or change mind, but all you can really do is be like a model for
Well,
how.
that's why there's so much trash out there, bro. The people who are putting that trash out there, they don't give a fuck that they're putting that trash out there. I
Yeah.
mean, when you're skilled and you have something good to say, you should not care what other people are saying and put that shit out there, because people need that. You know, they don't need the trash out there, but they need that good shit. You know.
Yeah, it's a you know, we both love all the trashy shit too. You know, there's a
Oh, I
time
do.
there's a time and a place for all of it. And I think a lot of the stuff that I was turned off from, and we've talked about this before, but like from like our era of underground music was like all the really preachy shit, you know, like
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to tell you how to live, or like being over the more morally correct person than you know, holier than thou type mentality.
Right. 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 Right.
That's what
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like that stuff either. So it's like finding that balance of not being too preachy, but also like saying something useful and saying something wise without, you know, we were wise kids. We were wise and had a vision back then. And I don't think we came off as preachy. Maybe some of it a little bit, but you know,
Some of it, but we were kids. You know, learning how to refine that and present it in a healthy way took
yeah,
time. You know, it's like, yeah, I don't want to tell you my politics and my religion and force it on you, but I want to tell you what worked for me. And, you know, maybe it'll work for you, but I'll tell you what works for me, you know, and maybe there's something you'll get out of that. But I'm not sitting here going, you need to follow what I'm saying. Your politics are not right. Mine are right.
right. Yeah, man, it's cool that we're all still having fun doing this. Like I'm having more fun now than probably I even was back then, just because like my head is clear. You know, I know what I want out of it. You know, I
Right.
at a place where I really truly don't give a fuck. Uh,
And you got full control over how your music comes out and is released. You know, it's like, so you got full control of the time that you put in and put out.
yeah, I think what changes is in when you're a teacher, you know, when you're starting, every other teacher will tell you like, man, you can't take this serious. You can't take this personally. You know, like you're gonna deal
Right.
with great. And your first year teaching is like jumping into the shark pit. You don't you can't train anybody for it. You know, like at
Yeah.
least at schools like where I teach. But you know, it's something you can only learn through life, through living. and learning it on the job. And it's a skill that I've really been honing and learning the past 4 years of being a teacher, of just like really internalizing, not taking it personally, and being able to like step outside of my own ego and being able to like separate myself from the person in front of me and taking that, you know, the wide angle view of what I'm actually looking at in the moment, you know. And that's really helpful as a musician, as somebody's making art, you know, to just be able to like see yourself as like a vessel making this stuff. You're not even really attached to it. It's a weird thing to, you know, it's a meta feeling. It's like, I am the one making this, but at the same time, I'm just channeling everything else in my life, you know, all my influences, all the people around me, all my inspirations. And that's actually the person making this. You know, I'm not really,
Right.
I don't need to be attached, you know, personally to this project or anything I do. It's like, it is me making it, but, you know, it's just the result of a bunch of like summative elements inside of me, you know, like that's a real fun and like powerful place to be coming from making music. And you can get into the mentality of like internalizing, you know, separating yourself from the artist or whatever. So I've been having fun playing with that, you know, just like making stuff and not thinking about, you know, thinking about it as if it's not even really me being the one putting it out. Just it's just some guy who's channeling, you know, a bunch of other influences through it, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's all this like feedback thing. Like I'd get the verses back for these tracks, and then I'd go be like, damn, that's hard, and then I go on to make a harder beat for the next one, and you know, it's just this loop. I can't take credit, and I don't think really any artist can take full credit for what they're doing. You know, it's like we're all taking from each other, we're all growing from each other, and it's always been that way. Like
right.
Sampling is a beautiful art form that everybody's been using through the history of art and time. You know, we're all sampling. We're all
right.
So
yeah, man. I completely agree.
Some heavy thoughts for a record that's like a violent mixtape war 80s. But my friend, one of my oldest friends from Rockford, messaged me like a few hours after it came out, and she said she was like listening to it after having a horrible week at work, and like was like shedding tears over the record because she was so proud and just like happy to you know, I had MCs from Rockford and stuff, and just happy for me. And I was like, it's pretty amazing that I made somebody cry over like this violent 80s war. It's a cool feeling.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna jump off this, man. I think we got what we needed out of this talk about Escape from Grenades, man. I'm truly happy and psyched to see what's coming next, and I think that this is just the beginning of a bunch of stuff. And thanks for setting it off, man. Pull the pin out. Pull the pin out.
Go listen to it on streaming, or you can support it through the Bandcamp if you want to buy the digital. That helps. But I'm just happy anyone's listening at all anymore to what I'm doing. It's been we've all been making music for a long time, so go back and listen to all the old stuff too.
Wow.
That's for us.
There's still a lot there for sure. A lot of value in all that stuff, man.
Indeedy. Go take care of them kitties.
Yeah, man. Meaty Ogre in the house.
High fives. Peace out.
Peace. 100.
All right, yo.
Sweet, man. I'll talk to you soon, bro.
Have a good night, brother.
All right, love you. Peace.
Love you. Peace.
Lyrical spiritual. Lyrical spiritual.